Hey guys, in today's quick tip, we're going to talk about how to read faster and why it's so important. What we're going to talk about in this video is several ways that you can increase your reading speed dramatically. And I'm also going to give you a link to a very helpful article that you can use to increase your reading speed up to 3 times, up to 300% according to this article. And I can tell you that it's a pretty awesome read and will certainly help you. But let's talk about 3 simple things that you can do right now to increase your reading speed. The first one would, well, actually, before we get into that, I want to tell you one of the major reasons why a lot of us have a hard time reading quickly is because of this thing called regressions. And that's really where your eye, and a lot of us don't realize we do this, but your eyes read, say, 7 words, and then we jump back 3. And then you read 7 more and you jump back 3, and you read 7 more and you jump back 3. And it causes us to read so much slower than we're actually capable of reading because we're continuously jumping. And you get in the habit of doing that over time and you don't even realize you're doing it. And I took a speed reading course several years ago, and one of the things that they had us do was sit across from someone else. And then they had the person across from you hold a book, and they had them hold it down low like this and read. And the person sitting on the other side of the person reading was told to watch the reader's eyes to see what they did. And sure enough, every single person reported that the reader's eyes were doing this. They were darting like that. They weren't just going like this. They were darting back and forth, regressions. So regressions are a bad habit, and if you can find ways to eliminate those, you can instantly increase your reading speed by quite a bit. Now, this might sound a little funky, but the first tip I'm going to give you right now of a way that you can increase your reading speed is to do the finger follow. Essentially, while you're reading, run your finger along the words as you go. And no matter what, don't slow down. Just keep your finger going at the same place and essentially force your eyes and your mind to continue reading at that same speed. That one tip alone will instantly reduce your regressions, ultimately increasing your reading speed. As you go, you can increase the speed that your finger goes. And don't even worry at first about comprehension, about keeping up with your finger, being able to understand every single word. Just make it go a little faster, and eventually your brain will catch up, and you'll actually find yourself comprehending more as you go. There's one way to gradually, over time, increase your reading speed even more after you've started using that technique. You know, also use, a pen or whatever to track the words as you go. So the second tip I'm going to share with you for a way that you can increase your reading speed very quickly is to be conscious of the fact that a lot of us are, even when we're reading silently, we're mouthing the words. And we might not be saying anything out loud, but we're mouthing them as we go along. Or even if you're not doing that, a lot of us are actually sounding out the words in our head as we go. I might be reading the words, "Then John went to the store." My lips might not be moving. You might not hear any sound coming out of my mouth, but in my mind, I'm literally hearing, "Then John went to the store," or whatever. So once you're conscious of the fact that you do that, you can actually start to try to stop doing that. And a lot of it comes down to just the fact that your brain can actually read a lot faster than your mouth can pronounce words. So your brain can move super fast. It can just snapshot words as you go, even in some cases whole sentences or more, people have found. But since we try to sound them out, we get in the habit of doing that. It slows us down dramatically. So if you become conscious of the fact that you do that and try to actually get yourself to stop pronouncing every word as you go, that alone I've found will increase your speed as well. The third technique I'm going to leave you with is one that you've probably heard me talk about before, which is perfect for those of us who get distracted easily when we sit down and try to read a book or whatever, and that's to use audiobooks through a service like Audible. Not only does that completely eliminate regressions, because when an audiobook is playing, you obviously can't go back every 7 words or whatever. It forces you to keep plowing forward. And then, of course, as I've mentioned before, you can use that the function that Audible has to increase the speed of the audiobook. So a 10-hour audiobook, if you go up to 2x speed, you can read the entire thing in 5 hours. That's a way to instantly double your reading speed just right now. So if you want to learn more and as a result improve your life by having breakthroughs and by absorbing information from other successful people and whatnot, then one of the best and most practical ways to start is to improve your reading speed. And the good news is that pretty much anyone can implement rather these techniques within a day or two and make it possible to learn at a more rapid rate. Now, if you're not one of those people who can just look at one page and have the entire thing memorized instantly and just flip through a book and you're a genius or whatever, I used to be a little insecure about how slow I read because I thought, there are so many other people so much smarter than me that I maybe didn't have a chance to be as successful or whatever. And what I've found is there are a lot of people who don't like to read that much, who say they're bad at it or can't focus or whatever. That's really no reason to believe that you're less capable of being successful than anyone else. So there are many, many ways you can learn. You can learn by watching. You can learn by reading. You can learn by listening, by example, whatever. But just the point is to make sure that you are really going through life as a lifelong learner, that you're always evolving, always growing. And as I said, learning to read faster is a good way to take the first step. So hope you've enjoyed this quick tip. As always, I'd love to hear your comments on this. If you've increased your reading speed or you want to, or you have a question about best books to read or anything related to the reading topic, be sure to comment below. As always, share this with your friends. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube and all the other social media platforms. Talk to you soon.